Hey guys, my name is Maria Park and welcome to the Approach to Nerd Batwoman Season 2, Episode 7 spoiler review. If you were here for my charm review last night, you will know that I was not exactly happy with that episode. And the same is true for this episode. Ryan does something in this episode. She does a few things that annoy me, but she does something in this episode that, quite frankly, confuses and annoys me greatly. And that is, she revealed her identity to Alice. Now, I get it. In this episode, Ryan is dying. The kryptonite, poisoning is pretty much gone to her brain, and she's delusional. She's hallucinating. Mary's trying to stabilize her. Ryan takes off in the Batmobile to go track down her ex-girlfriend, Angelique, to try and get a line in on Ocean, because she figures Ocean will lead to either, Alice and the Desert Rose and blah, blah, blah. It's just a whole domino effect of whatever. But what's interesting to me about this episode is that, number one, she goes to her ex-girlfriend's place. The ex-girlfriend is already with another girl. So we see Angelique has moved fast. It tells me that Angelique does not need Ryan. Ryan seems to think she needs Angelique. So there's lots of drama on that end. But also the entire persona of Batwoman and not killing is something that Ryan already has been told. But the first thing she wants to do before she dies is kill Alice. That is her thing. She wants to take Alice out. And it is what it is. It is what it is. It's just very interesting to me that the scene in this episode where we have this confrontation, the fight where Ryan finds, Alice. Number one, I hated how they shot this scene because I don't have epilepsy, but guys, those flashing lights were doing something to me. I'm like, that was not a good creative choice when you want to build tension. Do it with music. Don't do it with lights that blind you. But Ryan basically decides she's going to kill Alice. And she's like, do you know who I am? And then Alice is like, not really. And she pulls her, her cowl off. And she's like, well, what about now? And I kept thinking, why would she know who you are with the cowl off? You work as a bartender. You're not a celebrity. Why would that even be something that Alice would even know about? She's like, she doesn't know who you are. I don't understand the purpose to her doing that. And then honestly, that's just going to cause issues later. It's going to make it so, in the future, Alice has something to blackmail you with, because that's the same stuff Tobias is doing in Black Lightning with the Pierce family. I don't understand what is happening. It didn't make sense. The creative choice behind that made no sense, because Alice has no reason to know you. It's not like she knew your civilian form. You lived in a van. I'm so confused, guys. I'm so confused. And then Alice, they're leading a red Alice in the comics, but they are pretty much doing what Sophia, or pretty much what she did to Beth in the comic books. Is how she's the one that actually created Alice. She made it better. Like in the comics, Beth was already traumatized, a lot like Beth is in the series. But Sophia, at least in this version, was trying to get her to get over her trauma. But Sophia in the comics from day one was making her into a monster to go, do her bidding. And I think it's interesting that the reason that we are actually seeing Alice now as this person that's going on this redemption arc is because, number one, of this relationship with Ocean, and number two, because Sophia actually has sent her back home to be the monster that is Alice. Now, I don't know how I feel about this, because it kind of demeans everything that Alice has done, because Alice has done some vile crap. And there's always some gray area here. Let's be clear. What she did to Mary and Mary's mother was wrong. But Mary's mother was shady as hell too. Catherine was shady. Let's not forget that. Catherine was very shady. But she didn't deserve to die like she did. She didn't deserve to die in general. She, if anything, you could have set her up to be arrested for tax fraud or whatever. Take her money, do something. She didn't deserve that. But they're making it seem like every choice that Alice has made in season 1 was because of Sophia. And I don't know how I feel about that. I don't want her to have 100% redemption arc, because she's one of the most interesting characters in this series. So to take Alice out of the equation completely makes zero sense. And even the line in this episode where Ocean is like leaving and he's like, what are you going to do? And she's like, well, I'm going to go to Koryana and get revenge on my sister unless, I have a reason not to. And that was her like extending the olive branch to him to, hey, remember we were in a relationship, take me with you on your journeys. Because when she had Tatiana with her in the episode, she kind of gave him the breakdown, or gave Alice the breakdown of what really happened. And it's just like we thought. Ocean was leaving and he had some the saps of the desert rose, and he was taking it to go start a new life, and he wanted Alice to go, or Beth to go with him. And so that's when Sophia pretty much used Enigma to wipe their memories. Now, speaking of this, I really believe they just gave away what's going to happen with Kate Kane, because since they have someone who's able to hypnotize you to forget your life, 9 times out of 10, that's what they did to Kate Kane. And so the reason that Kate Kane will possibly be found but can no longer be Batwoman is because she's not going to remember her life. I think Sophia did to Kate what she did to Ocean and Beth. And so Kate's not going to have any desire to be Batwoman. Is not going to have, honestly, why would you be Batwoman when you don't remember being Batwoman, when you don't remember anything? That is probably they're out, because we know that Carolyn Dreier's not going to kill the character because she doesn't like the killing your gaze trope, which is fine. Feeling that is exactly what is going to happen, is that they're going to get, Enigma to wipe or hypnotize her so that she doesn't remember ever being Batwoman. And they're going to have to accept it. And Kate's going to move on. Maybe Kate's going to go traveling again and yada, yada. Or she'll stay on the island. Maybe Sophia, she thinks she's Sophia's lover. Because, in the comics, Kate and Sophia were lovers. So, a lot could happen with that. But I do think that's the out that Kate Kane is going to get. So that is interesting to me. I was not particularly happy with how they make Mary so gung-ho about murder, because she's taking the Hippocratic Oath. She is went to medical school, considers herself to be a doctor, but she has no problem with people taking lives. It's really weird. And like, she did not hardly fight at all when Ryan was like, do you care? Ryan's like, did you love your mom? I'm like, wow. She used the mom card. And then Mary was kind of like, okay, the keys are over there. And I'm like, so you're just completely okay with Ryan and going and killing Alice. I understand that grief does things, but as a doctor, you're not supposed to want anybody to be harmed, because that is literally the oath you took. And so I don't like what they're doing with Mary in that regards. I think that that's kind of a little bit of character assassination. And I wasn't happy that Ryan said, you can either, let me through, or I'll go through you. I'm like, all right. I realize she's high on the kryptonite, but she's up here and she needs to be down here, because that was also really annoying, especially since this woman actually was your biggest supporter of being in the bat suit and even gave you somewhere to live. That's BS. So I was not a big Ryan fan this episode, which is interesting because I generally like the character, but I feel like she needs a huge attitude adjustment. But again, the stupidest thing she did in this episode was take her cowl off and show Alice who she was. And it's stupid for us as fans to be like, if you really thought that was such a dramatic move, then you really need to ask yourself, why in the hell would Alice know who Ryan even was? She didn't know Ryan. She don't know Ryan from scratch. That woman probably saw you for a millisecond in that apartment. She wasn't paying attention to you. Do you know how many people Alice has killed? She doesn't know you from scratch. So you taking the cowl off meant nothing. It meant nothing. She still had no idea who she was. So I thought that was really interesting. It's not the same effect as Kate taking her cowl off and Beth seeing that was her sister. Ryan is nothing to Alice at all. So I did not understand the logic behind that whatsoever. It just didn't make sense to me. So, and of course, Jacob and Sophie and the Crows are going to Hamilton Dynamics because they think there's another painting there, or the map there, that Catherine had. We do know that Catherine, again, has done a lot of shady dealings, and apparently Catherine had a lot of shady dealings with Sophia, and that she kind of betrayed her. And so Sophia didn't like Catherine, and of course, Beth hated Catherine for not telling, her family that she was alive, convincing them that she was dead. So nobody came to look for her anymore. So both of them had a common enemy, and that was Mary's mother. It's just such a weird circle of connection here. It's so stupid. But yeah, so apparently the map is no longer at Hamilton Dynamics. They got there too late, so there's no map. But during the confrontation with Ryan, when Ryan was going to kill her, but kept seeing her mother, giving her like disapproving looks and saying, "This is not, how I taught you," blah, blah, blah. She couldn't bring herself to kill Alice. And I will say Alice was holding her own in this episode. I mean, I know that Ryan was still heavily, sick from the kryptonite poisoning. But Alice is a very formidable fighter. She doesn't have all of her memories. So I wonder if she gets all the memories that were wiped back, if she's going to be even better of a fighter, because her and those like sparring sessions with Ocean were really cool. They were really badass. And you could see her using the moves against Batwoman. So it does show, to me, it shows why she was so effective in season 1 as a fight when she was fighting against Kate and the Crows, is that she actually was trained. Not just her living in a basement and all of a sudden having Power Ranger ability to fight without ever fighting. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, while they were fighting, and she was at first beating the crap out of Ryan, and then Ryan managed to get the advantage on her. She decided not to kill her, but she went back, and of course Luke's like, "Where's Alice?" She's like, "Well, hello to you too." She's like, and he's like, "Well, I didn't want you to kill her, but I wanted you to apprehend her." And she's like, "I put a tracker in her boot, so when she goes to Coriana, they can track her and then get Kate and get the Desert." So I'm like, that was Ryan's elaborate plan, I guess. Whatever. Like, I don't know. This episode for me was really lackluster. And like, I don't know if it's just going to be this week, because it started with Charmed and now Batwoman. So I'm kind of worried about what's going to happen with The Flash and Superman and Lois this week, because if this is what the week is starting out to be, I'm probably not going to be very happy review wise this week. But guys, why? I have so many questions. I just have so many questions. And like the whole thing, even with trying to make Sophie, like everyone's trying to make Sophie like have a bigger role. But I mean, what is her role in this other than finding Kate? If she finds Kate and she can't find Kate, then what is actually the point to Sophie's character? So there's so many questions I have, guys. There's so many questions I have. But if I'm going to give you an overall list of what I didn't understand, number 1 has to be, why the heck, number 1, that Ryan took that cowl off and showed Alice her real identity. Number 2, why she thought Alice would recognize her, because that's very stupid. Just can't fathom that one at all. Number 3, I don't understand what they're doing to Mary's character. Well, they're making Mary, who's supposed to be dedicated to being a doctor and saving lives, so gung-ho to killing anybody. Yes, I understand Alice killed her mother, but she was not putting up a fight. And she has not been putting up a fight amongst, pretty much anything that Ryan wants to do. She probably hesitates for like 5 seconds and then says, "Okay, good idea." And Luke has to be the voice of reason. I don't know why they're doing this to Mary. When if you look at season 1, Mary was the one that was always like, "Well, maybe we shouldn't do this and we shouldn't do that," and was the voice of reason. So I feel like that's a bit of a problem this season. Mary's just a little too gung-ho to kill or have people kill. And she's not, she's a doctor. I don't understand that. I don't understand what they're doing with Sophie, like giving Sophie more to do than just pine and try and search for Kate. I don't know. I really have no idea what they're going to do with Sophie once the whole thing with Kate plays out. Having Enigma, having somebody who can hypnotize you and take all your memories away, again, is how I think they're going to get rid of Kate once and for all, because they're not going to kill her. The best way to deal with Kate Kane, since they just talked about Beth and Ocean's memories being taken, is to take her memories too. And so she's no longer effective as Batwoman. And that is how I think they're going to handle the Kate Kane situation. That's what I think is going to happen. Probably won't, but if you want to write your way out of this hole you just wrote yourself into, that's what you will do. So I do like that fact. I will say I was very appreciative of the fact that Jacob was, when he sat down, he saw another side to what Catherine did by telling him that Beth was dead, that it wasn't all malicious, that she wasn't just trying to move her kid in as the other kid, that she actually just didn't want to see her husband and Kate breaking down every day when there was no hope of finding the kid. Because Jacob's obsessed. He's obsessed with finding Kate. Like, even when they went to Hamilton Industries and couldn't find the map, you saw him just push everything off the desk and like lose his shit. So I mean, yes, it was wrong, but I do know the motivation behind it was not malicious. So I will say that I do think that Catherine really did care about Jacob and love her husband and did not want him to suffer. And that's why she did it. Now, her working with Sophia, that's a whole other thing. Like I said, Catherine was shady. But when it comes to Jacob, I think her family, she wasn't, it wasn't a thing that she was doing maliciously. So, yeah. So much, guys. So much. I'm looking real with you. I was not happy with this episode. It just bothered me. And I did not like how Ryan was talking to Mary, like saying, I'll either go beside you or through you. And I'm like, what? I would see, I couldn't be Mary. Because you know what? That wouldn't have happened with me, because she would have said I would have gone through. And while she was talking, I just would put my thumb right into her shoulder. Because as a doctor, I know her vital points. I'm like, really? You gonna do what? And I squeeze it there until she passed out. Then I strap her ass to the bed, and then I'll be like, well, try moving now. I'm like, I don't live that life. I don't live that life. I couldn't be on the Bat team because they talk smack to me. I talk smack back. But it's just Ryan's getting a little too comfortable with being Batwoman. And so she just says stuff, and she says things, and she likes to spill a little tea on things that she shouldn't be spilling tea on. And she's going to get her butt hung in a sling. I'm really shocked that Sophie lets her talk to her the way she talks to her Batman or Ryan. So yeah, I call BS on that whole thing with Mary. Mary wanted her to go kill Alice. That's why she didn't put up a fight. I will say it was cute, Mary driving back in the Batmobile and her and Luke bantering over it. I thought that was really funny. And then her making the comment that the windshield wipers and missiles were like very similar looking. So I don't know what the heck Mary did, but yeah, that wasn't good. Why was she messing with the windshield wipers anyway? It wasn't raining. Just questions that I have. But so that was my summary of this episode. Yes, there was a lot. The only other thing I can think of that was strange was Sophia's desperation to have Beth be loyal to her. Now, in the comics, she's a lesbian. So I don't know if she was into Beth and this was a jealousy thing, and that's why she didn't kill her. I think Tatiana was in the Ocean, and that's why she ran and told about them taking the desert world and all that, because I think she had a thing for Ocean. She looked jealous when she saw them making out. So, of course, she ran and told Sophia. And Tatiana even says Sophia feels trapped on the island, so she's making everybody else stay with her. And that's basically it. She can't leave her family, legacy, but she doesn't want anybody else to leave her. So I don't know if this is more of she saw herself in Beth, or she actually had a thing for Beth, and the fact that the person she treated like a brother was with her made her a little cuckoo. So that actually could be a thing, but I don't know. So I'm just throwing that out there, guys. But yeah. So let me look at some of your questions, because I mean, guys, this episode. Being in the Batmobile is like being a kid in the candy shop. I agree with that. I mean, I would have fun too, but I don't think I would push buttons I didn't understand just because I understand it's a powerful vehicle. I do love the fact that my spouse came in. I don't know anything about cars, so hopefully I'm saying this right. But my spouse was watching the episode and said, "Why is the Batmobile a Dodge Charger?" That was funny. So Mary could have given or gave Ryan a sedative to put her to sleep. I don't know what the heck's wrong with Mary. I mean, the woman already made a break for it in this episode, and then you don't tie her down again. She's I don't know. They're making Mary a little slow in this season. I think Sophie is going to join the Bat team after. So you think she's going to become a member? I think that it's going to be interesting because her and Ryan don't like each other very much. So that's going to be an interesting type of situation if she's going to be on the Bat team. I mean, yeah, she'll get along with Mary and Luke, but she's probably not going to get along with Batwoman. So I don't know how that's going to work. I didn't understand why they call the character Enigma. Don't we already have a character named Enigma? Yeah, they do. But I mean, there are so many different ones. I thought they were going to call Alejandro, because wasn't Alejandro, I have to go back and read the comics, but wasn't he wasn't a hypnotist. He just had the ability to wipe your mind. It was one of his powers. And I'm pretty sure he was on Coriana when Kate was on Coriana in the comics. So that would have been a really good, for me, a very good character introduction to the character. that can just erase minds willingly. I mean, he would have been perfect. He didn't have to touch you. He can sit in the room and like wipe your mind. But this is the Arrowverse. They have to do things, and I guess having two different characters with the same code name can happen. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the same. Who knows? The Arrowverse is supposed to be on the same Earth now. But I will say, I keep stressing this. I do think that's how they're going to say goodbye to Kate Kane once and for all. They're going to wipe her mind, hypnotize all her, like her being Batwoman and everything out of her mind. And she's going to run off and be carefree and do her. Like, she's not going to, and I think that they're going to let her go because she's happy. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think, or maybe it's going to be something reversible. I know she's not going to be dead because, again, Carolyn Dreyer says she's not going to kill her. So the only way to get rid of Kate Kane is to wipe her memories of all of them. And that would end her and Sophie. That would end Batwoman. It would end a lot of stuff. So yeah. And then Alice won't want to kill her. She'd be a shell. So yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. One thing that everyone complains about is how Kate always lets Alice go, and now Ryan has done the exact same thing. Yep. But in this case, she let her go because she wants to track her. And in I think episode 2, she let her go because it was a choice between saving people from the toxin or getting Alice. So those are the 2 times. Now, if she does it the 3rd time, I don't know what to say. Hi, Blue. You are just in time. When Alice's gang was beating her up and killed her mom, Alice came after and stopped them, and she was looking at Ryan. So that's why I think she means, do you remember me? No, that was a really quick scene, and I get that. And I even said that earlier. I understand that when she was closing the door, she saw. But I mean, think about all of the people that Alice has killed, hurt, injured, whatever, tortured, made faces of. Do you really think that she was going to look at Ryan and be like, "Oh, you that girl sitting on the floor in that building with my guys who killed your mom and the landlord"? No, like Alice don't remember that. No, she's not keeping a scorecard of all that stuff. She's not doing that. She's not. Unless Sophie runs off with pre-Batwoman Kate. To be honest, that this ties up both storylines for the characters and reboots their prior mistakes. I agree with that. I just do not want them to do a redemption arc and make everything that Alice has done be on Sophia. I want to believe that there has to be some level of psychosis in there to bring out, because yes, she had a crap load of trauma. I mean, she was held captive for 11 years, but I mean, come on. You mean to tell me every choice that Alice has made since she came back to Gotham, forming the gang, becoming the queen like Sophia wanted, going after her family, all of that stuff was because she was hypnotized into doing it at Sophia's order? That makes this character extremely cheap. And Alice is such a good villain. I don't like that. Not to mention, if that's the truth, and she was like hypnotized to go take her family out, why does she always hesitate with Kate? So I don't know. And I mean, she should have just killed Mary. She could have poisoned both the mother and the daughter, not given them a cure, and then poisoned her dad, and then poisoned Kate. So I don't understand that. I don't. But what they're trying to do is they're doing this redemption thing for Alice. And I don't know if we're going towards Red Alice or not, but it bothers me. I don't want them to do this. It's very, very weird. But honestly, though, well, I don't. And then even now, when she was trying to give Ocean the option of asking, her to go with him, it did seem like she had a different attitude. Like, yes, the hardcore, survivalist is still there. But when she was fighting Ryan, for instance, and she said, "It's not my fault," and Ryan's like, "Everything pretty much is your fault." It did seem like that's what they're exactly trying to do. They're trying to make her an anti-hero. God, that's so weird. It's so weird. I don't know how I feel about this, but I mean, honestly, they probably don't know what to do with Alice because she's connected to Kate. And yes, Jacob's still there. But I mean, honestly, the Crows being there with Jacob, that's fine. He has really no loyalty to Ryan's character whatsoever. Yes, Mary's his stepdaughter, so he does have a connection there. But I mean, he really doesn't have any skin in that game. He runs the Crows. He pretty much cut off Mary's clinic. I just don't understand what is happening. This episode was just like one plot hole after another, and then they're making more, problems from themselves later, because yes, it is literally going to be like they're borrowing. I think we talked about this in my Charmed review last night. I feel like the CW writers are borrowing from each other, like where we had Harry last night freaking going crazily, doing all these equations, which remind me a lot of Barry last week with his cognitive thinking being on front, sped up by the artificial speed force. Those scenes looked exactly like. I really feel like that is what's happening in this one, because there's so many moments where it's like, why are you stealing Black Lightning stuff? Like, yes, Black Lightning, Tobias knows who they are, so he's blackmailing them. Well, guess what? Now you just made it so Ryan's going to be blackmailed by Alice. I think Alice is going to be like, she's not going to do it immediately. I think she's going to do this soul searching thing and then realize she likes being bad. And then she's going to blackmail her. Or she'll blackmail her so she doesn't go to jail or be caught or put in an asylum. Because it seems like if you really put Black Lightning parallel right now with Batwoman, it's so similar. Like, there's so many similar things happening. And it's just very weird. Oh gosh, guys, I'm a big supporter of Javicia Leslie as Ryan. So this is no hatred towards her. It is literally the writing. Once again, I hate how they write her right now. They write her as somebody who flies off the handle, is always argumentative with her teammates, who threatens her teammates, who, has been literally in the bat suit for a millisecond and feels like she earns the right to have clout enough to tell people how things are going to be when she can't even operate hardly anything in that freaking, bat cave without Luke. Yes, she can get on the computer and do a Google search, but she can't do anything. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just they really need to focus more on building this team dynamic and not doing this asinine stuff they're doing in the plot that make no sense whatsoever and don't feel as connective to anything that's going forward. So, yes, Ray, I know she is the one on the front line. She is. But remember, Luke did the same with Kate. Luke is so protective of the Batman legacy because his daddy had a lot to do with helping Bruce with the original legacy. So I get he's generational. I get that. Kate just came in and modified the suit. Now Ryan's coming in, but my problem is I agree with her when she says that, hey, we need to work as a team. But what she said a few episodes back is, I'm the one taking the bullets. I'm the one out there. So when I say something's wrong, then you listen to me. That is not a team. That is how you actually start off with a lot of animosity. Because Luke and Mary have been there, especially Luke, through all of Kate's crap. So they do have experience with dealing with stuff. But Ryan just goes off and does stuff on her own and then gets mad that she has to prove herself. I don't like that. I don't like that there's this like cattiness in this bat team, because they're not a team to me. They're a bunch of people hanging out in the bat cave. That's what that is. And every so often Ryan comes and gets the bat suit and takes the Batmobile out, and ever so often asks Luke to look something up in his advanced Google search, and then goes off. It's what it is. They are not a team yet. So yeah, I don't understand. And Ryan is, like I said, Ryan is in her feelings all the time. She's an emotional Batwoman. So, and I get it. She comes from a lot of trauma. Her adopted mother was killed. She was an orphan. She was, taken by the candy lady. I mean, she had all this crap that happened. And apparently a lot worse happened. Her ex-girlfriend is trash, which we definitely did see that woman, Angelique was hooking up with another girl already. So that should tell Ryan right there, why are you even pining for this girl? But it's just Ryan needs to learn to trust people, and she does not. And she also needs to learn, like all three of them need to learn to be a better team. But I will say Mary, outside of Mary being okay with Ryan killing people, Mary seems to be trying to bridge between Luke and her. And Mary has been very supportive of Ryan. Like even finding out that she lived in a van, she told her to move in with her. So I just feel like whenever she's like talking trash specifically to Mary, it's irritating because she's been nothing but supportive to her this entire season so far, and not listening to somebody who has experience. Like you literally just stepped into the Batwoman suit. You are fighting people on the streets, but you haven't really gone through all the stuff that they've gone through. You haven't been kidnapped and tortured and, all that stuff. So at least not as Batwoman. So like, it's interesting. It is really interesting. Can Barbara just come train her already? Because Batwoman has nothing close to Batgirl. Yeah, it has Bruce's respect, the most of any of his proteges. But that nepotism, that's not even Damian had. Yeah, you know what? I really would love to know what would happen if the real Bruce Wayne came back and was like, all right, so what's this? I would love to see that, because quite frankly, he technically is the owner of everything there. Yes, Kate has established, property in the building. I think she made her real estate company out of the building, blah, blah, blah. And of course she owns the club that Mary now runs or owns. But at the end of the day, Bruce Wayne is a billionaire and Bruce Wayne, that is his tech. So he really could come in here and be like, okay, I'm gonna need all of you to clear the premises because you're all effing up. Like this, I left because I killed Joker, but I feel like everything went downhill even more because of all the crap you guys are doing. So I'm back. Let's leave it at that. I think it's funny. I don't think they'll ever make Luke into Batwing. Nope. Given the major evidence of how they've been writing for him lately. See, the Luke in the comics is very kick-ass. The Luke in the Arrowverse is Felicity with balls. Like, that's basically what he is. Like him, Cisco, they all share the same quality. The only one I can say that's in a support role for a character that is not, I don't want to say useless, but is not effective in a fight is Gamby. Because if they had Gamby in Batwoman, it would be a lot different. That ship would be a lot tighter. Because Gamby don't have time. I would love to see Ryan and Gamby interact, because he'd be like, "Little girl, you up here, I'll meet you right here." He said, "I've installed something in your suit to shut down, but you don't listen to me." Oh, you think you take it to Batmobile? I'm gonna auto shut that off too. Take a cab home, call an Uber. They're not trying. Like, I feel like as smart as Luke is, and as smart as Mary's supposed to be, especially this is what I always say. There's a lack of critical thinking in these shows. Like, I don't understand, and I'm never going to understand why in this episode, they let that woman get away twice. She was like, why? Why did you not keep her sedated the entire time when you had her back? She's already sick. What's the point of allowing her to wake up? Let her stay sedated, strap her down like in hospital so you don't injure yourself, and then work out your plan on how you're going to find the map or get to Coriana to get the cure for her. Why would you leave her unstrapped? All of this stuff makes no sense to me. You're asking me to suspend my disbelief, and I can't, because I can't believe that it's this stupid. So, not happy. Sunday night was hard for me in CW land. Let's see. Kate, in theory, could work independent of Wayne Industries. Kate had her own money and the Crow resources, so she could downgrade but still be effective. I agree with that. And she kind of did that with her club, because her club was actually her main pride. The real estate company she wanted to use it to buy up some of the I think buildings and properties in low income areas and rebuild them for low income families, which is I love that. But I think her pride was her gay bar, to be honest, because they didn't have one in Gotham. And I thought that was groundbreaking. So I agree with that. Kate had her own stuff. Plus she had money. She came from money. She's never been poor. That's something Ryan doesn't know. She doesn't understand wealth and having things. I think that's why Mary's intimidating to her, because Mary has never been poor either. So it's a thing. I don't think I read that one. Let me move up. Sorry. But the problem is she is so reliant on Luke that he should be running the show. I mean, I don't get why they don't listen to him. Yes, he was being a little petty at the beginning, but he's loyal to Kate. You want somebody who's loyal to you. Just like if somebody else came along, he'd probably be loyal to Ryan. I mean, that's just his personality. He just has to warm up to you. Not everybody's going to be like gaga like Mary. Kate's her own sister, and she's like, Ryan, you want to get in the bat suit? Cool, girl. Let me give you a tour. So that whole thing is not Luke. That's not who Luke is. But Luke is very effective when it comes to tracking people and getting information. And yes, I understand that as Batwoman, you are in the forefront. You are the person taking all the risks and taking all the bullets and yada, yada, yada. But if you don't have information and intel to go on, then you're just running around the streets. That's what you're doing. You're patrolling the streets like Spider-Man. That's what you're doing. The Wayne family was just the main brain and most wealthy of their family because Kate is Bruce's cousin. Yep. I really think that they have to get rid of Kate. The only way I can think of, they're going to erase her memory. There's no doubt in my mind. We need a new Alice now. I'm so worried. She seems so human. They are humanizing her. And the thing about Alice is that she can make you believe that she was a humanized person and then stab you in the eye and cut your face off. That's Alice. I mean, honestly, isn't she going to have a nervous breakdown if she realizes that all this stuff that happened was due to Sophia? But won't that nervous breakdown make her crazier? I don't know. It's like when she saw her mother's head in the freezer. The writers are making major mistakes this week. Yes, they are. Okay, let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I got everybody's comments. Okay, I think I did. But yeah, so what do you guys think? Do you think that erasing Kate Kane's memory is a good way of getting her basically out of the equation? Because I can't see Kate giving up her bat suit to Ryan without not knowing she was Batwoman. I don't feel like she's going to have this huge epiphany saying all of a sudden that Batwoman has caused nothing but strife in her life. And now she needs to go on like a kung fu type quest and go soul searching, to find her inner peace. I don't feel like that's what Kate's going to do. I do think a better story run would be her having her mind altered and not even realizing that she was ever Batwoman. And somebody who has that, you can't put in a bat suit because it'll basically be like training Ryan all over again. Ryan at that point will have more experience as Batwoman than Kate would ever have. So I don't know. Memory wipe, only way to go and give her peace about her sister and love her life because Alice is here and Beth is gone. I agree with that. Lightline doesn't work without Gamby, period. They would all be dead, or lab rats without Gamby and Lynn. Yeah. And right now, even though Lynn, let me not get on that tangent. That's going to be tomorrow. I'm really not happy. I really feel like I'm going to be very upset tonight. Lynn's problematic. So I don't know, guys. I might be talking some mad smack about Lynn tomorrow. But I do agree with you. Gamby is pretty much the center of the Pierce family because the Pierce family can't get along. So like they're not a supportive unit, even though they love each other. They're at each other's throats all the time. And especially the parents. So I don't see that being a thing. But I will tell you, if Gamby went on an exchange program for a day, if Luke went and worked with the Pierces, he would go insane. If Gamby walked into the bat cave with Ryan and Mary, it would be a lot different. She would try and talk some smack to Gamby, and Gamby would be like, let me explain something. I raised Jefferson Pierce. I've been in his kid's life and his wife's life. I have seen stuff and petty arguments and people saying things that, and talking out their butt that you would not think people would say. And you think your little stuff right here is bothering me? Like, little girl, sit down. Kate was already in the private sector, a government contractor, mercenary. Yeah. She did go. She also went off. Didn't she go to Tibet? Because I think in the pilot episode, she was like in this like watering hole. She had to get herself out of it as training. That was interesting. Well, now what made Kate so equipped was her elite crows training she had prepared for her whole life. So, yeah. So Ray, she also went to military school. So I'm a military brat, and I know those schools specifically, like West Point, are hell. They're hell. So she started off training, with Sophie in the military. And so, yeah, everything else, all the other training she got was just icing on the cake. So, yeah. Alfred is alive. I would love him to come and put them in check. I would love for Alfred to walk in there and be like, what is happening in this house? Like, what is happening in the cave? Well, I guess technically it's not at the house. It's actually under Wayne Industries, which is interesting. I kind of liked it being at the house in the manor. But I guess, having it in that building gives them a reason to have a different elevator. I don't know. But they did have an elevator in the Adam West version, too. In the campy version of Batman. I don't know. They could have put it in the house. I don't know why they didn't. It would allow us to see the mansion more. That would have been cool. Because nobody's really staying at it. Because, what they say, Alfred's back in London in his flat. So Julia's not staying there. So nobody's really staying at Wayne Manor. So, I don't know why they don't have it there. Or have Alfred come back. I really hope they do cast Alfred and have him come back and get with Luke and be like, what is happening right now? What is this mess? That would be very cool. Will you be doing a video on Zack Snyder's Justice League? Absolutely. Absolutely. 1,000,000,000%. And Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm very excited for both of these things. Let's see. Trying to move up, sorry. Alice has always had violent tendencies. When her mother was murdered, she murdered her fake grandmother. True, Blue. But remember, she didn't start off having it. She was actually, as Kate said, the more quiet and meek twin. She was the book smart one. So she was the nerdy twin. But I guess if I walked in after being abused for 11 years, having a woman pour hot tea on my hands because she didn't like how it was served, and then noticed that she was wearing my mother's earrings, and then saw my mother's head in the freezer, I would have violent tendencies too. I don't know who would not have violent tendencies at that point. So I do see why she snapped. And honestly, I don't know what took her so long. Remember the kitten episode when she was little and they put the kitten, like the guy took the kitten and put it in a blender? That was a mess. So yeah, I can definitely see her violent tendencies being legit. But yeah, I do agree. She's always, I think, and see, that's the thing though. So what they're trying to tell us is that all the stuff that happened those 11 years, it tortured her. They made her mad and have trauma. But when she went to Coriana, she didn't seem like psychotic and a sociopath. So what she actually did, instead of trying to go and kill Catherine, she went and stowed away on one of her yachts and was like drinking her champagne and stuff and going through all her crap. She was not waiting there to kill Catherine. She just got jumped when, Coriana sent her people and they brought her to Coriana. So I do think, and this is comic accurate, there were issues where Sophia brainwashed Beth into being a much worse version of Alice. So I feel like they're pulling inspiration from that. And so by them doing that, what they're saying is all those 11 years that traumatized her did not make her the crazy that she is today. It was Sophia that made her the crazy as punishment for trying to leave her. That is so messed up. That is so messed up. I don't know, guys. I am so on the fence here about this whole thing with Alice. It's just really weird. Yes, I will love it if it will be a major because in the game we had it in both. Wait, what? I'm sorry. Yes, I loved it if it will be a major because in the game we had it in both. I don't know what you're saying, Kobe. Can you say that? Can you explain that to me again? I'm probably slow right now. I apologize. Okay. But I really like the idea of Barbara coming and training her. I love the idea of them introducing Barbara into this universe. And I really would love them to introduce Barbara into this universe as Oracle. Because then that means we have the Birds of Prey in this universe. And I think that would be absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, to be honest, I don't think they're capable of doing that in the CW without it being weird. But you never know. There's so many people. I will tell you this, though. If they brought in the Birds of Prey with Lady Shiva, man, they did it right. I'll be talking about this whole thing I literally have breakdowns for a week every day I have a video, a different aspect of that team up, because that would be amazing. And I don't know why they didn't do that. We've had such amazing team ups in the past and like, look at Smallville when they brought Legion in. That was badass. His Justice Society of America crossover was amazing. Even bringing in the Wonder Twins on Smallville, they did really well. They had Zatanna, they had Blue Beetle, they had, Booster Gold. They had all of these kick-ass people, and they pulled it off in episodes that were flawlessly cool. I mean, Smallville may have started off slow and some people didn't like it, but like I say, season 7 towards the end started getting really good. And when they started bringing in a lot, and I mean a lot of Justice League friends and Justice League members and side teams, that was F&A. I was so excited. So they have potential to do that here. Bring in the Birds of Prey. Do it. Introduce Barbara as Oracle. Bring in Birds of Prey. They can be people that just come in and out. They can do like little guest spots. They don't have to be there all the time. Bring Lady Shiva in, because I would love to see. This is horrible. I would love to see Ryan interact with Lady Shiva. She will learn very quickly to keep her mouth shut. Because as much as I love Ryan, that girl needs to learn to shut up sometimes. Woo. But like Mercenary says, you don't want them to put Lady Shiva on this show. They'll only mess her up. Yeah, that's true. It actually would probably make me stop watching Batwoman. I'll be real with you. Because Lady Shiva is one of my favorite DC characters ever. So you literally mess her up, I'm done with your show as a whole. That's how petty I am about that. I normally don't do that with anything else. I'm like, I can suspend my disbelief. It's separate. I can accept it, but even if I don't like it, I just let it go. But Lady Shiva, it's my girl. I can't emotionally handle that. So I'll have to cut ties with Batwoman, and there won't be one more Batwoman review for me ever. I will be done with that show. You couldn't even talk to me about it. I'll do a live stream and you even mention Batwoman, I will delete the comment live. I'm like, I want to talk about that show. That's how bad it is. I just can't do it. That's my love for Lady Shiva. I got problems, I know. I don't know why, Ryan, you're getting the Meghan Markle treatment from the fan. Well, that's obvious. Number one, she's female. Number two, she's black. I already explained this to you. People don't like things that are woke because they like to be asleep. Ignore background noise. My daughter loves to time her life around mine, and she's on her lunch break. So even though I'm doing a live stream, I'm next to the kitchen. And so she decided to fry stuff up very loudly so I can strangle her to death. Anyway, ignore her. Live stream. Now you get to have a part of my personal life to see that I am real with you guys. And you might be seeing some violence on this screen that will rival Batwoman. Go away. Anyway, so back to the whole thing, though. There are people that are, and you can search this. You literally can search Batwoman reviews on YouTube, and you will see some of the most horrible effing comments. I mean, they are so horrible. And it's only because they are upset that instead of them getting a Batman series, they had the audacity to have this woman come in, and she's taken on men twice her size, and she's, and then they had to go even more progressive and instead of recast Kate, they had to get a black woman from the streets who of course has a record. It's just so much problematic shit. And what I would love to say to those people is just shut the fuck up. I mean, seriously, get over it. This is a TV show. Your life is not affected by what happens with Ryan effing Wilder in Gotham. And if you want to be mad that Gotham is cleaner than your city. Be upset about that, because for a rundown city, it looks pretty damn good. So whatever. I was actually expecting them to talk about Black Lightning being too black. I'm like, because they just got to complain about something. If people have no vehicle to complain about something, then they have to think about their own lives, which probably aren't that great. So it is what it is. That is why whenever you see people putting something down for something other than story and plot and character development, it's because they are toddlers who had to share crowns with someone and they didn't want to, and they never got over it. So sharing and understanding other people's wants and needs and cultures and, all of this stuff is just too much work for people who want to stay asleep and don't want to be woke. So that's my soapbox. I would love if the Batcave was in his house and also in the Telltale game. He had it in both. Oh, that's what you're saying. Yeah. I think he had like a mini version of the Black Cave, and then he had the Batcave in under his. Didn't he have 3? No, I'm thinking of the launching pad for the Bat helicopter was somewhere else, like another airfield. A Wayne air. No, it wasn't Wayne. He bought like an airfield that wasn't attached to Wayne, so I thought that was cool. Their problems, so they don't like black superheroes. Of course not. They're not just black. They don't like any superheroes that aren't traditionally white, sometimes male. And even with no matter how you feel about Brie Larson, I think anybody that had gotten into the role as Captain Marvel, they would have had a problem with, because they made her OP. And the fact that, Thanos hit her and she kind of looked at him like, what? They had real problems with her being more powerful than Thanos and not their precious Captain America. So, it's just what it is. I don't know why the haterade exists, but they drink it a lot. They drink it. They have a yearly subscription, like Daily Harvest. They have daily haterade. It's weird. And they will find something to complain about all of the time. What gets me is these same nerd channels that people show me and link me to that I honestly don't want to see. As a half black woman, it bothers me when I see other minorities, other black men and women, other Asian, men and women, Hispanic, anything minority, when you get on YouTube and talk crap about progression and being woke, but the moment you log off your computer and you walk out that door, you just see how real it really is for you, but yet you still have this attitude. I feel like you hate yourself. So whatever. I don't understand. I'm almost 45 years old and I still have yet to understand why people think the way they do. It is a bubble they live in, and so somebody needs to pop it. It's crazy. I was looking at one of their views. They were saying something about Wokemon. Oh yeah, that girl. There's a girl. She's pale with red hair. Yeah, I've seen some of her stuff. I made sure I read her stuff because it bothers me. She says some very problematic stuff. But again, back to my whole turning the computer off. When she logs off to her computer and gets in her car, she doesn't have to worry about being pulled out of her car and shot because she's not black, Hispanic, and she's not Asian. She doesn't have to worry about walking down the street and being accused of starting COVID because she's very pale, and they're not going to look at her as a threat because she's white. And that is the truth. And obviously I don't have anything against white people. I'm half white. It's just the mentality. You cannot talk this trash when you're not affected by any of it. You are not affected by it. Like anything that happens, like look at Ryan in Batwoman, all the stuff that she went to, that she's basically gone through because she's black. And that's basically what's happening in Gotham. If this had been Kate going through this, she would have been like given community service and she wouldn't have a record, none of that stuff. That was a valid point they made in Gotham. This girl on this YouTube channel, at the end of the day, when she turns that computer off, she didn't have to worry about any of this stuff at all. So it bothers me when people that don't have a skin in the game talk about the game like they have something to contribute. So it's just irritating. I do not watch any of that stuff because it just makes me mad. And I like to keep my blood pressure on the down low. So it's what it is. They would only like Brie Larson if she was in a skirt like Diana, which makes no MF sense combat wise, besides something to look at in sexism and sexualization. Well, let's be fair. They also do that in the comics. Like there's no reason why Scarlet Witch, Psylocke, let's see, who else have they done this to? Megan, Teresa and X-Force for a while. Definitely Lorna or Polaris. Sometimes Jean. I'm going to go down the list of people who wear aerobic leotards or one-piece swimsuits with tights to fight in. I never understood. Water of truth. And plus, as somebody who has a large chest, how the heck are you fighting without a bra? I don't understand that. So I'm just like, it's just stupid. Just stupid. It's just stupid. I like Ryan because she gives me like Jason Todd and Red Street Justice. She does. Like I said, there's a lot to like about Ryan. Ryan just needs to adjust her attitude a little bit. I don't want her to not stand up for herself. She just needs to stop blowing up at her support team all the time. Because that whole comment about her going, around Mary or through her, that was messed up. I really wanted Mary to say, "You're going to go through me? Like right now? Okay, let's see it." I'm like, let's see this. So that to me was messed up, but okay. I think she is Oracle by the time Batwoman comes around. Yeah, she should be Oracle at this point, especially if Bruce is like retired technically. She should definitely be Oracle. I think this would be a great time to bring in the Birds of Prey. Now, again, I don't know. You're right. It probably would go horribly wrong. And it would be a great homage to Alice's actress since she was in the original TV series for Birds of Prey. So that would be interesting. I haven't looked up the PBG casting. I'm going to do that today. So I will definitely check that out. I like someone who from the street and has skin in game actually doing something to make their home better, just like Jefferson and Nyssa. Yeah. I mean, Anissa can get out of hand when how she talks to her mother and stuff and how she treats her wife, but her heart's always in the right place. And she's an activist. So I do respect that. She, from episode 1 of season 1, has been an activist and she's never stopped. So I do respect that. Jen is young. Jen can be problematic because she's got the teenage attitude. My daughter went through that phase a little bit, not with me because she's still alive, but you got to look at it from the age point of view, the standpoint of how young she is. Kind of like how I think about Maggie and Charmed, how she is young and needs to learn to be more mature. So yeah, I do think that from that standpoint, it is what it is. Chaston's gonna be my ATN cheerleader. He says, "Everybody give thumbs up and hit the like button. Please hit the like button because I never ask you to. And I always forget to because we just start talking and I just do that. So yes, if you're in here, please hit the like button for me so that I know that you like me and somehow I'm validated in talking to you. Which I'm still going to talk to anyway, but still be nice, be kind, and thumbs up and like, please. Okay, so we've established a lot of cool things in this, guys. Now I already told you my theory about how Kate's memory is going to be wiped, but now I'm like really wishing Alfred would make an appearance. We get the Birds of Prey and Oracle, which would be really awesome. Barbara trains Ryan on how to fight and how to keep her crap. Because another thing I've noticed about Ryan is that Ryan gets really emotional very quickly, and that could lead to her getting her butt kicked a lot. So like with Kate just seems so monotone that it was kind of like Kate was like, okay, I'm processing the insult you just gave me. Yeah, I didn't like it. And then she would like get mad, but like Ryan's like, wait, what? Like, what you say? So yeah, and I will tell you, if Ryan runs back to Angelique after seeing this woman already shacking up with another woman and you guys just broke up in the last episode, she is a flaming idiot. No, can't handle that. Okay. Yeah, so leave Maggie alone. Like she a child and her parents hid double lives and parented in secret children. The girl has trauma. She has lots of trauma. Now, Mel was just written wrong completely yesterday. Completely. But you want to see my rant on that? Go watch the Charmed review I did, the live stream I did last night. So you can see my rant all about that because I was not happy with that. Ocean is going to bring Alice's humanity back. I'm here for it. Not really monotone. I think disciplined is more accurate. I don't know, Madness. Sometimes there were times where Kate just really felt like she was overly processing, and it makes you look like a Vulcan. It really does. It makes you look like you're not showing any emotion on a situation because you're still processing. If anything, I would think that Kate was more of an introvert, and Ryan is absolutely an extrovert, like 100%. I'm an ambivert. I'm very outgoing when I'm talking and I'm out, but I burn down really easily. So then I have to go home and charge, and then I don't want to do anything. I have friends that are on all the time. They're on all the time. So yeah. Is Robin a thing in this universe? I don't know. That's a good question. I really was looking to see if they had more suits in the Batcave than Batman's and then a Batwoman. I have no idea. They've never mentioned a Robin. They've never mentioned anybody else in the Bat family. So I have absolutely no idea. But that is a good question. I would love to see, any of the people from the Bat family. But honestly, I would really like to see Alfred. I keep mentioning Alfred. We have Alfred's daughter, which technically was very controversial because remember, in the comics, Julia was actually mixed like me. So she was half white, half black. And they cast a girl with blonde hair for this version. And they said they did it because of the episode where she was introduced. She had to pretend to be Kate and wear the costume. But I'm like, if they cast a lighter skinned biracial like me, that would not have been a problem. But, I think they just effed up and they need to find a reason to cover up for it. Okay. Trying to see. Okay. I saw how Mel acted more like tough love. I think she was more or less trying to train our parent, Abby, like you behave, you get a reward. If you misbehave, you get disciplined. So my problem with that is, and again, I don't want to dwell too much on that because that was that live stream, is that, and we discussed this, I know a lot of people even brought this up on the stream. Whenever you deal with somebody self-harming and basically trying to kill themselves, even though she was doing it in her sleep, it's fine to tell her, okay, this is your subconscious. Maybe you need to, listen to yourself. But then you just don't walk away. You actually try and help somebody who just said to you, I don't know how to stop this. That is 101 suicide line prevention, criteria for somebody who could try and harm themselves again. And she just walked away. And that's why I have a problem with that. It's just what it is. Okay, we're gonna do a few more questions because we're at an hour. And I got to get my my Wings video up before I have a rehearsal in 29 minutes for the thing I told you guys about. I'm in this acting showcase tomorrow, which is going to stream. I'll post the link again in the morning. But it's tomorrow night, Central Standard Time. It's at 7. I think it's only an hour long, but it's my acting class. So we're all doing scenes, and we're doing a scene from the Batman movie. And I play Murray, a female version of Murray, which is insane. So if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is the talk show scene. So fun times. But I have my last rehearsal today, and it's going to be funny and crazy. I also did a monologue, too, that you guys would see, too. So it's basically a Joker monologue, but I'm playing the Joker's daughter. But it's the why, basically why aren't you laughing monologue. So yeah, fun times. I will link that if you guys are interested because it is going to be live streamed. And if you can't watch it live, you can always just watch it as a video in the playlist. I didn't see it as suicide. I saw it more as what Parker went through when his demon side was trying to kill his human side in season 1. Now, she specifically said, instead of sleepwalking, I'm sleep harming while I'm asleep. That is an indicator. If you were trying to kill yourself, because she's doing it to herself, she was harming herself. That is the definition of mental health. And unfortunately, that's kind of a messed up message for Charm to put in and not talk about. Because they did something similar in Doctor Who. It wasn't about suicide. It was about a character worrying about his cancer coming back. And the doctor was basically like saying, it does not look right message-wise when your characters that are supposed to be empathetic are not being empathetic. It just looks very bad. It doesn't look bad more on the character. It's more on the writing because everyone knows it's the writing. These people are just saying what the writers told them to say and what the directors are telling them to do. That is a writing issue. And I don't know if anybody's going to say anything about that, but that was really messed up about that episode yesterday. I wish we knew about Ryan coming sooner because we missed a good romantics crossover with Thunder. Yeah. No, Thunder's only got Grace. Come on. It's even in the comics, it's always going to be Grace and Thunder, Anissa and Grace. And Anissa and Grace's relationship is not as messed up as it is in this version. But to be fair, in Black Lightning, all of the family relationships are very interesting. Though I will give props to her for saying last week, I built walls. I worked through these walls. And she did apologize to Grace. And she did let Grace help her, deal with what's going on with Jen. So that's a lot better than what her parents are doing to each other. And they've had years to figure that out. So yeah. All right, guys, that is the end of this live stream. As always, guys, if you want to continue the conversation about what's happening in Batwoman, I know it was a lot of questions, a lot of what the heck's, a lot of theories. Please put them below because I want to continue this. I think it'll be awesome. Also, I will be doing a Black Lightning stream. I just don't know if I'm going to do it tonight because of the weather. Whenever it rains, it gets kind of weird here. So I don't know if it's going to be a connection issue. So it probably will be tomorrow. If it is tomorrow, it'll be on my lunch break because I have the acting seminar or the class thing I told you about tomorrow night, which means we will not have Arrowverse Tuesday. We will have Arrowverse Wednesday night. It will be delayed. So I will definitely update you guys on that live stream. But everything else should run as smoothly, the rest of the week because I don't have anything else planned except for doctor appointment. So on Friday. So we should be good. I'm pretty certain that Falcon and Winter Soldier starts on Friday. So I am excited about that. So I will be reviewing that. And of course, I definitely will be doing the Zack Snyder's Justice League cut because I'm curious. I'm so curious to see the difference and what Joss Whedon apparently cut, which seems to have been a lot. So yeah, awesome. But as always, guys, you have a very, 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 very good day. And I will update you the moment I know when my next live stream is. More than likely, though, it will be tomorrow at 1 p.m. for Black Lightning. If it airs correctly tonight. If not, I will let you guys know. Have a good day. Have a good evening. Have a good day at school. Have a good day at work. Wherever you're doing, just have a good you.